Takumi is a loser virgin who has been summoned to another world with no body and finds himself standing before the goddess Nolan. But the first thing she does is offer a heartfelt apology, explaining that everything was a massive mistake. When a summoning spell is activated, it randomly pulls loser virgins from Earth to be isekai'd. Takumi, however, wasn't supposed to be included since his life was going well, but a mishap dragged him here along with the others. This error happened because the Holy Sidonia Empire recklessly activated the summoning spell. Unlike the other summoned heroes who went straight to Sidonia, Takumi ended up here with Nolan because he wasn't meant to be summoned. When Takumi asks if she can send him back to Earth, Nolan explains she can't. She was so furious at Sidonia for using the forbidden spell that she removed it from this world's magic laws, making interworld travel impossible. To make things worse, the process killed him, leaving him as a ghost. Takumi panics, but Nolan reassures him she has a solution. While she can't return him to Earth, she can provide him with a new body and help him settle in this world. As an apology for her role in the situation, she offers him her blessing to make his new life easier. With no real choice, Takumi agrees to be reborn, much to Nolan's relief as it simplifies things for her. Nolan instructs Takumi to check his status screen to preview his new life. When he does, he discovers that Nolan plans to give him a 17-year-old body despite his being 40. She dismisses the details and emphasizes the importance of choosing a job. Takumi learns there are two main job categories: combat-focused roles like swordsman, knight, or hunter, and production jobs. Uninterested in fighting, he opts for a production role. Nolan implants the job into his soul, adds bonus blessings, and sends him off without a tutorial. Takumi crash lands in a forest, sees his reflection in a river, and realizes he's truly changed. No arthritis and a younger body. Determined to make the best of his new life, he checks the bag Nolan left, finding food, money, and other essentials. His status screen reveals a wealth of skills, including elemental magic, which he decides to try out first. Takumi stretches out his hand, summons a water ball, and it instantly materializes. He realizes the other elements function similarly, mastering them on his first attempt. Now understanding his magic, Takumi decides to head to the nearest village. On the way, he notices a remarkable stick on the path, scans it with his appraisal skill, and learns it's Trent wood, ideal for crafting magic staves and spears. Testing his modeling skill, he turns it into a spear. Encouraged, he searches for more materials and finds numerous useful plants, spending an hour gathering them. Lacking space in his bag, he recalls his item box skill and stores them all. Suddenly, a scream pierces the air and a young girl emerges from the bushes, seeking help from a monster. Turning, Takumi sees a massive horned rabbit charging at him. In a panic, he instinctively strikes, accidentally killing it with a headshot. Takumi is stunned that a novice like him defeated such a powerful monster. He assumes Nolan's blessing is responsible, but it was actually just sheer luck. Despite the victory, he gains the warrior job title, much to his dismay since he wanted to avoid fighting. However, his priority shifts to checking on the little girl, who introduces herself as Molly. She assures him she's fine and explains she was gathering herbs but wandered too far from the village and got attacked. When she mentions the village, Takumi eagerly asks if he can visit. Molly agrees to guide him but first asks if he plans to take the rabbit since its meat is delicious. Realizing it would be wasteful to leave it, Takumi stores the rabbit in his item box but immediately regrets revealing this secret skill to Molly. With no way to undo it, they head to the village. Meanwhile, others who were summoned arrive in the Empire of Sidonia, confused and unhurt. A hooded woman greets them as heroes, explaining they have been summoned to save this new world. Elizabeth introduces herself to the children as the Empress of the Sidonia Empire, and her demeanor instantly strikes them as suspicious. Akane's unique skill, enhanced by Nolan's blessing of revelation, activates, guiding her gut instinct to the truth. Elizabeth is deceitful and cannot be trusted. Meanwhile, Takumi arrives at Board Village, where Molly's parents, Banga and Martha, thank him for saving their daughter. They admire his responsibility in traveling alone and invite him to stay in the village. Although there's no inn available, the villagers offer to build him a house. As they gather on a plot of land, Takumi uses earth magic to level the ground for the foundation. It's his first large-scale use of magic, leaving him nearly drained of mana. The villagers, impressed by his abilities, reassure him that his effort is greatly appreciated. By the next morning, Takumi's house was finished with help from the others. Using his skills in carpentry, blacksmithing, and sewing, he crafted quality furniture for himself. However, he wanted to experiment with something new, metal extraction through alchemy. With ores provided by the village blacksmith Boron, including iron, silver, copper, and magic iron, Takumi started with iron. Normally requiring a furnace and hours of effort, his alchemy allowed instant extraction at the cost of heavy mana depletion. Excited by his success, he continued until he collapsed from exhaustion. Molly brought him dinner but found him unconscious from mana depletion. Thanks to recovery potions from Martha and Banga, he recovered and was warned not to overdo it again. Over time, Takumi extracted various metals, including gold, and used them to create useful tools. He also spent time with Boron at the forge, learning to craft different weapons. The play turns out great, and once Boron finishes the sheath, it will be complete. Takumi's blacksmithing skill has reached level 40, so he decides to focus on something new. He asked Banga for a few potions, and Banga gladly lends him some basic ones. Takumi explains he only needs a template for potion making, intending to create his own using herbs he gathered in the forest. Banga supports his idea and even offers to buy potions from Takumi once he completes a batch. Grateful, Takumi starts crafting, combining leaves and water before storing the potion in a glass jar to compare it to Banga's. While both are blue, Takumi's potion is noticeably brighter and seems to contain magic, though he's unsure if it's a success. To test it safely, Takumi decides to build poison tolerance by consuming small amounts until near death, then using healing magic to recover. Takumi had been at it for hours, feeling utterly drained. On the plus side, his efforts granted him the purification skill, which would surely prove useful later. As he got to his feet, a loud noise revealed a massive, hostile boar charging toward him. Takumi grabbed his spear, but it shattered on impact, leaving the boar unscathed and him defenseless. He tried every spell he knew, but none harmed the creature. Just as panic set in, he spotted a venomous spider behind him, ready to strike. Surprisingly, the spider attacked the boar instead, buying Takumi a moment. With the boar still relentless, he quickly thought of a new plan. As it charged again, he leaped into the air and used his alchemy skill on its head, raking it down and defeating the beast. Relieved but exhausted, Takumi noticed the injured spider and decided to heal it in gratitude for its help. Once it was safe, he headed back to the village. After receiving a notification, Takumi discovers he has tamed a spider, something he didn't even know was possible. Though hesitant to keep it as spiders are seen as dangerous creatures, its adorable gaze wins him over and he names her Maple. Later, Takumi returns to the village with a giant boar he killed, impressing everyone not only with the feat but also for taming a venomous spider, something unheard of. Since he can't eat the boar alone, he suggests sharing it, and a grand feast is held in his honor. During the celebration, Banga gives Takumi valuable boar leftovers, advising him to sell them in the city of Bolton, his next destination. Meanwhile, the goddess Nolan watches Takumi's progress with pride. When questioned by another goddess about why she's favoring him with a special body, blessing, and even sending him a year into the past before his summoning, Nolan simply says she's doing what feels right. The next day, Takumi scolded Maple for waking up tangled in her web and covering the room in silk. The spider apologized, explaining she felt lonely and wanted to keep him close since he was always busy. Realizing he'd been neglecting her due to his potion making, Takumi apologized too and promised to take a break. Overjoyed, Maple jumped on him just as Martha entered with food and saw the strange scene. Takumi quickly explained his pet wasn't attacking him, but Martha's attention was on the silk. Seeing its potential, she crafted clothes from it, impressing everyone. Takumi hadn't realized spider silk was so valuable, and Martha explained it was a luxury sought by nobles. Martha then asked Maple for more silk, and the spider happily complied. Later, when Takumi invited Maple to play, she refused, claiming she was busy. Amused by her attitude, he let her be, glad she was enjoying herself. With time to spare, Takumi returned to his work, noting it had been nearly a month since he arrived in the village and thinking he'd soon need to study alchemy in the big city. Takumi didn't want to leave without leaving a lasting impression on the kind people in the village. He later visited Boron to pick up his armor, and the blacksmith mentioned needing to repair the soles and tips of his boots as they weren't fit for the forest's dangers. Takumi insisted he was just a producer and didn't handle such issues, but Boron knew Takumi often wandered the woods alone and wasn't exactly who he claimed to be. Then Banga arrived, advising that Takumi should move to a city where the demand for materials was higher to advance his work. He mentioned that merchants from Bolton would be coming next week and had arranged a ride for Takumi. Thanking his supportive friends, Takumi then met Martha, who was about to discard the entrails of a horned rabbit. Though tasty, they posed a health risk, but Takumi quickly used his purification magic to resolve the issue. Martha was impressed and grateful, but warned him not to show his light magic in public as few could use it and those who could often made a living from it. While no one in Bolton Village would mind, she advised caution since Takumi was heading to the big city. While waiting for the bolts, Takumi spent his week improving the village, focusing on its safety and efficiency with a high wall and upgraded production equipment. As time passed, Pepek arrived in Bolton and was surprised by the wall. After negotiating with the villagers, Takumi prepared to leave. Boron reminded him of the 100 healing potions he had made for Banga in case the villagers needed them. Papek admired the potion's quality, holding the bottle up to the sun. As Takumi was about to depart, Martha and the villagers came to say goodbye. Molly asked about Maple, and the pet's owner mentioned she was sleeping. Banga and Baum encouraged Takumi to stay strong, while Martha gave him a tunic made by villagers using threads Maple had produced. Touched by their kindness, Takumi bowed in gratitude. He boarded the carriage, leaving with tears in his eyes, for this was the first city he had called home in Milgard. During the journey, Papek remarked on how loved Takumi was in Bolton. One traveler couldn't help but cry at the heartfelt farewell. The group introduced themselves, starting with Heath, followed by Real and the quiet bald man, Bogar. Papek explained they were a C-rank adventurer team called the Lion's Fangs. Heath said they were guarding the caravan, but Real, growing tired of the calm atmosphere, wished a monster would show up. He noticed Takumi holding his bag protectively, which contained his pet assassin spider. Ignorantly, Real peeked inside, only to be attacked. Maple clung to Bogar, who held the spider affectionately, while Papek asked if Takumi had more healing potions, eager to buy them. Once confirmed, the merchant abruptly stopped the carriage, stunned. The adventurers readied their weapons, expecting a monster, but instead, a group of goblins appeared. The Lion's Fangs quickly left to deal with them, while Real spotted more goblins in the forest and began luring them with arrows. Heath and Bogar fought nearby. Two goblins circled the carriage, surprising Papek and Takumi, but not Real, who shot them dead. Afterward, Real suggested dissecting the goblins for their magic stones. 3 days later, the caravan reached Bolton, a first for Takumi, who had never been to a large city in Milgard. He immediately went to the Adventurers Guild with the Lion's Fangs to report their success. Takumi needed to register at the guild to stay in the city and list Maple as his pet. He also inquired about joining an Alchemist's guild, but the attendant explained it didn't exist. She noted that many joined the Adventurers Guild just for an ID card, and if Takumi didn't mind starting at the lowest rank, his registration would be permanent, allowing him to accept one simple quest per month. Takumi agreed and listed Maple as his pet. Later, Takumi went to Papek's business to negotiate a deal for 100 potions. Papek offered 10 silver coins for basic healing and stamina potions and 50 for mana potions, totaling about 7 million yen or 270,000. Papek explained the low price was due to Takumi being unknown in the area. Takumi wondered if there was a hidden reason for such a generous offer. Papek also asked about Takumi's living arrangements, suggesting he rent a house or workshop if he planned to stay long-term. Takumi, low on funds, was shown a rental property by Papek's employee Thomas. Takumi is taken to a grand mansion, shocked and unprepared to live in such a place. Thomas informs him the rent is only 1 gold and 50 silver coins a month, much cheaper than expected. He jokingly wonders if anyone has died there, but Thomas reassures him that's not the case. Spotting a storage room, Takumi decides to turn it into a workshop and plans to pay rent with the money he'll soon make from potions. Maple wakes up and asks where they are, and Takumi explains this is their new home. When Thomas asks if Takumi has decided, he agrees to take the place. They leave the mansion, and Thomas mentions the move will be arranged tomorrow. Suddenly, Takumi notices a bad smell, and Thomas explains it's due to the city's sewage problem. Nobles can afford magic devices to fix it, but commoners cannot. These devices are expensive and must be found in dungeons or ruins. Sometimes priests purify the sewage, but it's only temporary. The next day, Takumi sets up his workshop, leaving the outer wall repairs for later. He mixes quartz into clay from Papek's company, shaping it with magic, then speeds up the firing process with space-time magic. After much effort, his alchemy and light magic levels increase, but he's drained of mana. Despite his exhaustion, Takumi installs a high-quality toilet in his bathroom. While celebrating, he hears Papek shouting and rushes to check. The merchant is stuck in spiderwebs, greeting Takumi's village children in joy, but he explains it's not common. Papek, however, seems unfazed. After helping him, Takumi apologizes, but Papek brushes it off and asks to use the bathroom. Takumi shows him a magical toilet that purifies waste, cleans the water, and leaves minimal residue. Impressed, Papek asks if Takumi specializes in light magic, but Takumi, recalling Martha's advice to keep it secret, asks Papek to be quiet about it. Papek agrees and immediately orders 100 more toilets, suggesting Takumi hire a slave for protection since his magic is valuable. He explains slaves can guard both property and secrets, especially with rumors circulating that Takumi might be a chosen one of the Church of the Divine Light. Though Papek has ideas to support toilet production, he emphasizes keeping Takumi's identity hidden. Takumi, however, opposes slavery and prefers to handle things himself. Just then, Takumi's guild card glows, alerting him of a quest that must be completed within a month. Feeling overwhelmed, Takumi admits he could use help. Pepek, eager to assist, takes him to Mulan & Co., the top slave market in Bolton. While Pepek handles business, Takumi meets a woman in the garden who immediately tells him to leave. If you're enjoying the journey of this series, please hit that like and subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss any updates. All of your support helps me to keep bringing more high-quality recaps.